Hey there, John Hunter, your mortgage hunter, coming back to you again with another fake news challenge, this one number 19. So making the largest down payment you can afford is always the best option. Fact or fiction, or true or false? The answer is false. So any statement that says always, you can pretty much know it's BS, right? There's nothing always or never, right? But having a large down payment is never a bad thing, right? It's actually good to have more money to work with, of course. I mean, it just makes sense. But putting it all down every time it just doesn't make sense for so many people. Other things you have to consider, like, do you have any high interest rate debt? Are there repairs that need to be done to the home or upgrades? I mean, how often do people buy homes and they just dream of fixing the yard or redoing the kitchen or this or that? Things come up. It's real life, right? And because real life gets in the way, I really recommend leaving you with as much of a nest egg as we can. Because when times get tough, having that extra will reduce your stress, allow you to get through it without having to make major life-changing decisions. And the reality of it is, statistically, people that have an emergency fund just default less. So from a lender's perspective, we'd love to see it. Now, putting more money down can help. There's certain breakpoints we look for, right? 5%, 10%, 20% are very often big breakpoints where mortgage insurance and other things get lower. So it kind of makes sense, right? Getting rid of mortgage insurance is always everybody's focus, right? Nobody wants to pay that. So putting that amount down is great, but once you get past those breakpoints, for every $1,000 you put down, it only changes your payment about $6, right? So what, 10 grand lowers your payment $60. Well, if you have 10 grand in credit card debt, that's a hell of a lot more than $60 a month is what they're charging you in interest, right? And you're making the minimum payment, you're going backwards, and that debt's going to take forever to pay off, right? Why wouldn't we take an extra 10 grand, pay off the debt, which could eliminate $500, $600, $700 a month in payments, and it only changed your mortgage payment $60, right? So there's lots of scenarios that I can come up with and explain where that makes sense. And I actually have a horror story. I had a client who came to me, had a very large down payment. They wanted to put it down on the house, but it was leaving them with no money. I recommended they didn't do it. They should not cash out their 401k. For a lot of reasons not to do that, but they should keep the money, let it compound and grow versus dumping it all into the house. Well, what happens? We had the crash. The crash of 08, 09 happened. All of a sudden, they're upside down on their house. They had to sell because they were getting relocated. All of that nest egg that they had spent years saving was gone in a heartbeat. Now, that's a worst case scenario, and luckily that type of market doesn't come around very often. But it's a great example of, just like investing in general, you have to diversify. You don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket, right? So maximizing your tax-deferred investment options is a priority. You want that money to compound. Because when you pay down a house loan or you pay down the loan, you're just avoiding tax-deductible interest. That home is going to appreciate the same regardless of what you owe on it. So it's not like you're going to end up with more equity because you put a little bit more money down. If you take that money and invest it, let it compound, you'll end up with a lot more money in the long run. So it's a balancing act, guys. And I can help people through that. I do very often recommend certain price points. Paying off debt sometimes is just such a wonderful option. I'll have somebody come to me, they'll have a bunch of debt, maybe a car payment, have some money down, and they're like, well, I can only afford this on my budget. Well, I'm like, well, what if we take this money, pay off the debt that you were paying $2 grand a month? Now you can afford a nicer house, even though maybe now you're going minimum down versus 20% or more, but your monthly outlay is actually going down, right? So there are lots of scenarios like that I run into all the time where I recommend that people don't put the maximum down. So basically, it's a strategic decision that everybody individually has to make, and I can help you through that. So give me a call. I hope you get pre-approved, buy a house. This is a great time. Rates are just right there, about to drop. I can just feel it. I'm really looking forward to next week. Some more economic reports that are coming out, hopefully inflation friendly. They all seem to be trending that way. We just need the Fed to stop playing hard to get and start cutting. Hopefully it's going to be September. That'll probably be the realistic time frame. Market's already predicting a 60% chance. So hey, we shall see. So, hey, come back for my rate updates every Friday. Love to have you like and share and follow along. And if you're looking at buying a house, I'm your guy. Hey, John Hunter, your mortgage hunter. Have a wonderful, safe 4th of July, and I will talk to you soon.